Assalamualaikum, Mr. Makhtar. Can you hear me?
Okay, dengar, I can hear you.
All right, thank you.
You can see my shining face.
You are a very handsome man in front of us. Thank you for joining us. I think we shall wait for the moderator, Africa.
Okay. It's raining in KL, so I hope the connection will be stable.
Oh, insyaAllah, hopefully. Kami boleh tak ada ayat.
Dah start dah?
Perbaik timah tasuh punya piping apa tak tahu. Lepas tu ayat tak ada. Katanya sampai pukul 10 tak set lah, tak tahulah. Daripada kemarin lah.
Okay. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. Welcome back to the Accounting Global Week 2022 to the fourth slot of Alumni and Industry session. Thank you everyone for joining us. My name is Nick Nur Afika and I'll be the moderator for this morning's slot. A few reminders before we get started. For students, please fill in the attendance at early of the session. You are required to fill up the questionnaire in order to get a certificate. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question box. Before the presentation begins, allow me to introduce our honorable guest speaker for tonight and industry, Mr. Makhtar bin Abdullah. So, how are you today, Mr. Makhtar?
Alhamdulillah, good.
All right. So let me continue. Mr. Makhtar is the Chief Executive Officer CEO of Association of Sharia Advisors in Islamic Finance ASAS, a reference center for Islamic financial transactions, where ASAS is an affiliate of Bank Negara Malaysia for Sharia Fraternity certification. Mr. Makhtar started his career in 1987 with an accounting qualification with State Economic Development actively involved in projects covering justice, manufacturing, plantations, mergers and acquisitions in Malaysia and Pakistan. Upon completion legal qualification at LLB in 1999, he was invited as a full-time consultant for Malaysian Singapore Second Link Causeway project. He was in the Berjaya 3D Intelligent and Digital Mapping project and acquired exposure in IT and international trade in Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. From 2000 until 2003, he was employed to set up the first Islamic offshore asset management entity in Brunei Darussalam. Dealing with financial regulators in Asia and Middle East exposed him on various financial compliance, risk, Islamic financial products development, products endorsement by local and international Sharia scholars. He also involved in setting up International Sharia Advisory Entity in Dubai International Financial Center (DIFC) in 2007. From 2009 until 2017, he was engaged in set up Center for Islamic Banking Finance and Management (CIBFM) Brunei. He was then appointed as CEO for Association of Sharia Advisors in Islamic Finance Malaysia, ASAS since 2018 until now. ASAS assigned by BNM to run specific certification program, which was pioneered globally for Sharia committee members and Sharia fraternity serving in Islamic financial institutions in Malaysia. Mr. Mak also involved as key group member for Fintech in 2021 under AAOIFI Bahrain, served as committee member in various initiatives including International Financing Reporting Standards, IFRS Conversion and Capital Market Development. Was assigned as Board of Study BOS for Bachelor Degree Program in Finance at Business and Accounting Faculty of University Malaya in 2020. Currently, he is an Associate Research Fellow and Industry Expert at College University Islamic Selangor and College University Islamic Perlis. So today, we are grateful to have Mr. Makhtar Abdullah with us to give his talk titled Street Smart UiTM Graduates. Without further ado, I would like to welcome Mr. Makhtar bin Abdullah to deliver his presentation. I will pass the session to Mr. Makhtar. Please welcome, Mr.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh and a very good morning. It's raining in KL and I was told that it is dry and no water in Perlis. I think we have experienced that since I was born. The moment I know that I was born in Perlis, it is very dry and it is remain like that. We have a very cool season, but we have also a very hot season sometimes. So Alhamdulillah, we have almost 3 seasons in Perlis. Hopefully there'll be snow soon, so that we can enjoy the 4th season. It's a bit awkward for me to speak in English because if I were to speak in Malay, I'll be pure Perlis. Maybe some of you may not be able to catch some word by now, especially the first year student in police. But I think Afikah by now she would understand some dialect in police, where my daughter always say that why it was why it is always difficult to mention the word panic, and then rather than use the word kalui, you know and some other thing, why we always hungry for water, lapak ayak, rather than thirsty. uh, those uniqueness about police will go on until we enjoy what we have. So thank you very much, Sawana, Puan Sawana, my good friend, since 1970. I don't want to mention 1970 what, because people will know how old we are. And but it is long time ago, since we are very young and small and full of hairs and berminyak rambut and everything. Well, technically, I always have this sharing session with student, be it in Malaysia or international students, that allow me to learn something from the student, not so much of sharing of what I've been through, because my experience may no longer be relevant sometimes, because we are in a different era. We need to bring TV, we need to bring photocopy, we need to bring camera, we need to bring fax, we need to bring lorries of equipment last time when we were young. But now one gadget suffice everything. We don't. So that changed a lot about how we supposed to take our life now. Thank you to all the lecturers. It's an honor for me to be here to share something, but at most to learn something from everyone. I'm not so sure how many student and how many lecturers are here by now, but it seems to be quite a number, because I think about four pages of attendees. I was told that there will be some of my friends as well, in between the student and the lecturer. All right. A little bit about ITM Arau, or UiTM Arau. It's very close to me, because that's where I found my wife, and I have two daughters from Arau. Okay. I'm not so sure. I've shared with Wana something that she was not aware, that during the opening of library Datuk Jaafar Hassan, no student attended the opening ceremony. Why? Because we boycotted the session. A day before that, I was the student leader then, notice student leader. A day before that session, Jamaah advisors from Shah Alam make a visit to Arau and supposed to have a dialogue with a student. The main issue then in 1985 or 1986 was allowance to student. All ITM students those days receive about 200 or 170 ringgit a month, which was a lot to us then. I still remember some of my friends who came from various places, sehelai sepinggang, because that's what we can afford. Tambang untuk tambang daripada wherever they come from and arrive in Kanga, looking for a bus going to Arau, and that's it. That's where the life begin. They start to buy pillows, they start to buy everything. They came to Kanga with just a small bag, nothing else. Because those days, those who attending UiTM for diploma are the missing boat of the universities, selected student. We don't receive scholarship, we receive allowance. So when the Lembaga Pentadbir UiTM or ITM those days decided to pull the allowance and give us a food coupon, it was hoo-ha. It is like a war to everyone, because that's what we have been survived for many years. I can give you a phone number of a friend who saved the money from the allowance and put electricity at his house. He still remember that. I still can recall a few friends who even sponsored or paid for their brothers and their sisters' school fees using the money that they received from the allowance in ITM. So when lembaga decided not to proceed with the dialogue with the student, ini cerita sejarah sikit lah a bit of a history. We walked from the campus to the sports stadium with a very strong proposition why the allowance supposed to be continued. But when they decided to say no dialogue, the allowance is abolished and forget about it. And tomorrow they invited us to the opening ceremony of the library. I technically told the student, avoid, don't come. So no student appeared. The campus was silent, no music, no nothing. The hostel was silent. Everyone just sit quietly in the room. So the lecturer thought that everybody were in the library, but when they went there, nobody was there. So they have to go and knock the door of every student in all the hostel to look for the student, and everybody were just quiet in the room. Finally, I don't know whoever that break the news that the student leader then told the student not to come. So I was called by pengetua and asked why I did that to him. So I said, well, this is something that in response, well, a naughty student leader, in response to the the the, the issue that we need the allowance, and that's how the allowance is huge and very meaningful to us. And I was even called by anak Datuk Jaafar Hassan. Oh, hang, rupanya yang boycott opening ceremony library nama bapa aku. I said, okay, sorry. I was the student leader then. Another big event for ARA was bila one student was caught with almost a pack of ganja. That was also another issue. I was called by lembaga pengarah in Shah Alam, and they asked me with my nickname, which I cannot mention, what you have done to Arau and what happened, why the student enjoy ganja and everything. Well, I said that is part of the PIM, Diploma Planting in Industrial Management skill. They managed to grow ganja, not in the campus, but outside. But those were the days. But Alhamdulillah, that what make ITM. Another nice story during those days was that, if you can recall, in 1985, there was the first time when Malaysia introduced postcode to the whole country. So some of the attachment students from UiTM was given a cabinet, a steel cabinet, and say, okay, put the postcode. So they can remember all the postcode in Malaysia, 0, 1000, you name it, Kuala Kubu, Banting, or everything. They just remember the postcode by hand, after a while. We had fun. We walked from Arau to Kanga sometime, just for fun. And it was very near, but not now. Must be, very far away. We also remember the story of Rani Estate. If you don't know, maybe someone offered to buy Rani Estate from Perlis, and he was chased out from Perlis. That is also part of the history. I don't know, he was daring enough to wanted to buy part of Perlis. So of course, Tengku Sek Putra chased him out from Perlis lah. Okay. Oh, I forgot that this is recorded, but it's okay. That is history. All right. Okay then. One of the reason why I decided, or I took the challenge, it's a challenge for me to share what I've been through, what we have been through, basically to share the street smart students of ITM or UiTM. Those days, some of the professional qualification were not able to be learned or to be covered by budak-budak Melayu or Bumi Putra. So the choice then was just university. If you miss the entry of university, and that's it, no other choices. So in 1974, ITM was introduced, and for the first time, I don't know whether your parent or your grandfather share the story of the first batch of ITM student in 1974. They were asked to eat burger. They were not allowed to eat rice or bihun or meat. Tan Sri Ashad Ayub asked them to start eating burger because that could be a reason they can speak English very well. So 1974, burger was introduced in ITM, and everybody was, burger, coney dogs, and everything, and sausages was the new thing. Anda makan burger belum? Wow, this is burger. You know, if you bring back burger to kampung and they say, wow, what is that? Roti canai new version or what? But the trick did by Tan Sri Ashad Ayub, insyaAllah kita doakan Tan Sri Ashad Ayub sihat. Dia kurang sihat sekarang. He is the grandfather of UiTM and all of us. Dia kata, hampa semua makan burger. So that senang sikit belajar cakap orang putih. Everyone can speak English. Kalau hampa continue makan nasi lemak and me and everything, hampa cakap Melayu je. I want you all to speak English. Start with eating burger and mention burger. Okay lah, kita pun makanlah burger. So those were the story of UiTM and ITM those days, yeah. But you may feel that apa ni pak cik ni duk cerita kan, cerita history kan. But what I want to share with you is that those story, those achievement may not be relevant to you now because you've been through technology explosion time. You've been through COVID. You've been through various situations that we have not been through. So this would make you even a better person than us. Yeah, that is the lesson number one. Some of the experience that we went through may not be relevant, but at the same time, you have a different card, and that would make you a different or at least a better version. Those days, we need to take a bus to go to the library just to read books. Now references are within your fingers, and just a fleet of information. I did my diploma accounting in 1984 to 1986. I did law in 1995 to 1999. I just completed my master last year. I hope I have another drive to complete my PhD. Doa-doakanlah, But study is fine. But sometimes when you have to meet a lecturer, you feel that either they are your daughter or your, whoever they are, that they speak different languages. But inshallah, if you continue to study, then you will feel younger, even though, you don't have hair anymore. All right. The other thing is that even though my background is accounting and law, but my career path basically move around restructuring and turnaround assignment. That's what took me to travel to about 18 countries, maybe more, for the past 37 years. And I've been working in about maybe 14 or 15 companies. And people must be say that this Pakcik is something wrong, working in 15 countries, or not working in 18 countries, but working in 15 companies. He must be fired or what? But it is not so much of fired. Maybe one or two I was fired, but the rest of the companies I decided to move on. When I've completed my assignment to restructure the company, I move on. With accounting and law, Alhamdulillah, I have a privilege to look at the account and to see how the company will survive. I've even sometimes decided to ask the owner of the company to close down the company to avoid continued bleeding. Having law in hand also allow me to look at their documentation and straight away pinpoint to them that be careful, you are at a risk of being taking legal action. One day down the road, people may sue you because of what you are doing or what you have done. So I don't expect everyone here to follow my path. That means when you completed your accounting, pak cik tu kata kena ambil law. No, that is what I do. That is not my advice. You feel free to follow your dream. You feel free to explore the new world. But if we go back to the street smart, yeah, now we go back to the topic, yeah, Tika, you have to remind me, you have to pull me back when I drift away uh, from the topic. Well, when we talk about street smart, there are few things that you have to be mindful of. You know, this could be the pointers that I can recall or the pointers that I can share with you. But there are also other pointers that you're supposed to pick up along the way. Number one, you must stay aware of your surrounding. Not so much of looking at the computer and be in your own world, but be aware of the surrounding. What happened to your surrounding? Um, if you are the sad part of the younger generation now, they are always put themselves in the computer or in the gadget or in the phone. That is not the reality or that is not the real world. Look around and say, what will affect me? What would affect my family? What would affect my environment, or what would affect my life? From tomorrow, from the next hour, from the next week, from the next month, from the next year. So you don't detach yourself from your surrounding. That is rule number one. Um, Number two, you must be also have a self-assured personality. You cannot having two or three character. You cannot having two or four voices. Dekat komputer cakap lain, your profile in the computer nampak macam wow. Bila orang jumpa, ya Allah, macam ni rupanya. Or when you put your word in writing, sometimes people thought that you are A, but when they meet to you, when they meet and talk to you, you are a different person altogether. We are having problem in the last 5 years to interview students and staff, new staff, because we can no longer read your body language. If you were interview face to face, we can read your body language. We can see whether your eyes, your hand are shivering, whether you tend to look around, whether you are looking for excuses to answer. But now we came across people who cheated in the interview just to get the job sometimes. But well, I don't blame them because it is competitive. Each and every year, university producing thousands of graduates. Each and every year, you have quite a number of unemployed, and also we have people coming from various countries to seek employment here. But rather than not showing the truth, it is much better for you to show the true color of you and then earn the respect and also earn the position. I have a friend who worked for World Bank, but he stayed in Jalan Tun Razak for the last 6 months. So I cannot have teh tarik with him because he's working in Washington or this New York time. I have a friend who worked in Maldives who start working and stop working not within KL time. So I have a friend who worked in Australia who woke up before our subuh and sleep while we are about to have pray our Maghrib because they have to adjust their time. So maybe the terminology of expatriate may not be around that long because expatriate is basically require a physical presence. I don't know what they want to call it now because you are in Perlis or in Arau working for IMF, for example, working for United Nations. It is not impossible anymore. Even some bank in Kuala Lumpur are reducing the size. The problem with them now is they don't know what to do with the building that they have because half of their staff are working from home. Even some of the staff are opt to resign if they were to ask to work in the office. So these are the new reality. So you must make sure that you have a self-assured personality. For Muslim, of course, we need to be sure that we portray as a Muslim. We keep our iman and be consistent in our amal, so that rather than be a Malay or a Chinese or a Kadazan or a Bugis or whatever, be a Muslim, which is the safest way um, um, to survive. Okay. Number three is know how to blend in. Um, I don't think you know much of your classmate because for the last 3 years, maybe, or 2 years, you've been doing online. Uh, you don't know how they behave. You don't really know how they walk. Ada yang jalan berkengkang lah, ada yang speak uh, very loud sometimes, not like when we had our friend last time. But you yourself have to know yourself in order for you to adapt to the surrounding. If you don't know yourself and you want to adjust to the surrounding, it is quite difficult. So make sure that number one, you know how you're supposed to blend in with the situation or the surrounding. The first thing that you have to do is to know yourself. If you don't know yourself, you don't know how to blend in, and that's it. You'll be in your own world. Number four, don't simply get intimidated. Whatever you get from the WhatsApp message, whatever people share during the social media or TikTok, you shouldn't get easily intimidated. Okay, things happen. All right, they have the problem. All right, we need to help them. Okay, fine, but uh, control yourself, because the social media inputs are not the only input that you should rely on. That is number four. Number five, when you argue, make sure that you argue with facts and through references. Some people, we can easily spot them, because when they argue, they just doing repetitive. Some are just parrot, mimicking whatever people say, and the worst part, they only understand half of what they are talking about. So being a smart street student, regardless whether you are from UiTM or from any universities, you must have you must portray something that you are a graduate, either you are diploma or your degree, because that is the expectation of the family, the expectation of your colleague, that is the expectation of your employers or employees in future. Uh, Even your lecturer, yeah, I came across a lecturer who complained about the student. They always have an excuse of sorry puan, or sorry tuan, camera was up. I cannot switch on my camera, my video. Padahal dia tidur. Sorry puan, I have a problem with my mic. Padahal dia tengah main game. Tiba-tiba mic dia turn on accidentally, dengar bunyi game. So yes, you are naughty. You cannot be like us last time, masuk hutan, tebang pokok, jambu rumah orang nak buat kayu hoki. Or you cannot be as naughty as us, terjun sungai whenever ada air. Or you cannot be naughty as what we are. Ada juga kawan-kawan yang curi jambu or limau dekat tempat sembahan orang lain. But you will have your own naughty life and naughty way of doing things. But remember that whatever you do will portray, whatever your habit then will be something that will stick to yourself. So try to have solid facts, and of course you have to tell the truth. Number six, to be a street smart also, don't show your weakness. Nampak lembek je, kan? Tak kisahlah you are wearing kain batik or kain plekat dekat bawah, tapi dekat atas tu pakailah steady sikit, kan? Janganlah nampak macam, I don't know whether Wana, are they still using the word mandom in Arau, in Perlis? It was a very famous word during my time in Arau. Mandom, lohom, lokcom. I don't know whether the same word are still there. I don't know whether there is ITM word or Arau word or police word altogether. Yeah.
Yang generation tak kot, dia pun tak faham kot.
Okay, but you may have your own terminology, but we used to say last time mandom, lo om, lo chom. But you ask your senior lah atau mak ke apa makna dia kan. Don't show your weaknesses because uh, physical meeting and virtual meeting would be difficult for you to share the reality of you. I don't know. My screen stall. Is my voice is still okay there? Okay, all right.
Screen off ke? Tuan Makhtar,
Yeah,
screen tak nampak
all right. Yeah,
Ya.
right. I don't know what happened. All right. Number 7. Uh, know how to minimize your risk. You have to be careful because the risk factor that you have to go through are different. I'm sorry that you understand about accounting, but what accounting taught me is on how you want to balance yourself. You must have your own balance sheet. If your own balance sheet is not balanced, then your liability is more than your asset. Sometimes it's very sad for accounting students who cannot balance themselves. They can balance the account, they can balance the financial statement, but they are not balanced. They don't even know how to what are the liability things that would cost to them and how they should accumulate the asset that make them a better person. So don't talk about accounts only, but talk about yourself. Don't try to make losses. That is the second lesson for accounting student. You must make sure that you also make profit. From time to time, you must know how to increase the value of yourself. So put yourself as well. Kita pun ada, we have a malaikat left and right that will write our doings and also our saying. As a record keeper, you also keep your record, you also audit yourself, you also have to do your own budget to survive. That is an accounting student. But for the IT student now, I was told that it is a combination of accounting and IT. You should be able to collect data within your fingertips. You should be able to also to screen that the information or the data that you receive are real facts and the reality. Um, I will try to speak for another about 10 minutes and then we will stop for a while for question and answer and then we will continue again on another part so that I will not be the one who's doing the talking only. Yeah. All right. Number 8. Uh, not easily to confront people. Sabarlah sikit. Pakcik tu dekat depan tu kadang-kadang lampu baru hijau. You thought that they are using the automatic car but they are still using the manual car. Bagilah Chan dia tukar gear so that he can move on. Kita kat belakang ni dah amboi, tak sabar-sabar. That is the simple example of tak sabar lah. Dalam hidup ni kadang-kadang kena sabar. You have to be patient. You have to put yourself, you have to think a lot before you say something. You have to rather keep quiet rather than to say something that would damage yourself or damage others. Ingatlah, the older people used to remind us, terlajak cakap, terlajak kapal, terlajak apa semua tu fikir-fikirlah. Be careful that you are not easily confronting people through your status in your FB or in your social media. Go back to the basic adab that you have. You are a Muslim, you are a Malay, that you have to behave in a way that it will save a lot of time. All right. Another thing that I also notice is that to be a street smart also, you must make sure that you will not easily to get distracted. I'm someone that oppose the staff who put WhatsApp in the computer while they are doing their work. From time to time, the message will Even if you have, imagine if you have 200 friends in a group, they will start saying that one people say Assalamualaikum, the other 180 will reply Waalaikumsalam, Waalaikumsalam. Uh, it is good, but the word distracted will take away your focus. Imagine that you have 24 hours a day, you sleep 6 hours or maybe less, but you spend on your social media is 8 hours sometimes. You know, check yourself every week. The phone will remind you, oh, you are using less hour than last week, or you are using more hour than last week. So that should be a reminder to us that we should spend our time benefit ourselves. Of course, number 10, don't share everything in social media. Whatever you eat, whatever you go, whatever you do, whatever, well, along the way, sometimes you may regret of what you are sharing. You know, you tell the lecturer that you can't make it to classes, but all of a sudden, you share in social media that you are eating outside with friend. You know, dah terbiasa, bukannya tak terbiasa, dah terbiasa. To the lecturer, you say you can't make it or you can finish your assignment, but sharing, wow, nice movie, for example, or nice game. Be careful with whatever you are sharing with your social media. Um, I would also remind myself that from time to time I will have to listen to myself, because your gut feeling will tell you something that you have to be aware of. Sometimes some people don't even trust themselves. They don't even trust their gut feeling. But in order for you to have a guided gut feeling, make sure that you baca Quran for the Muslim, you pray, you do all the good things. At the end of the day, the purpose of living is to going to Jannah. Kalau orang tanya kenapa hidup, hidup sebab nak masuk syurga lah. Tak ada jawapan lain yang rasa boleh lebih tepat. Mungkin bukan hidup nak makan, bukan hidup nak apa benda, tapi hidup sebab nak masuk syurga. I was reminded many times when I give jawab macam-macam, hidup nak apa, hidup nak kerja, hidup nak besarkan tu, hidup nak ni, Makhtar, banyaklah kau punya jawapan. Jawab satu je, hidup sebab nak masuk syurga. Okay, so maybe everyone can consider that. I was told that there are also non-Muslim participants. I hope you are not offensive with some Islamic reminders that I'm using, because as a Muslim, that's how I reminding myself and also try to remind everyone around me. Number 12, be prepared to depart. Yeah, there's one ustad who give a very good example. The best person that we should look and appreciate their honesty or their spirit are the one who valet parking in the hotel. You know, when people come and park the car, sometimes they drove in, they park Mercedes, they park Wildfire, they park every expensive car. But when the owner came, they will give back the key and they say, okay, that is not my car. So are you ready to depart and to be a bit detached on whatever that you are doing? Because at the end of the day, they saw after this or when we will depart from the world. So there's always a reason for us to remind ourselves that one day I will go. One day I will depart from everything. So if you try to remember that, inshallah, you will be a street smart graduates from time to time. So that's about 10 or 12 things that I want to share with you in part one. We can stop for a while. I've been talking for about 40 minutes. Maybe we can go for a quick question and answer, and then we will go for the second part where I will talk a bit about the fintech, something that I was not us. I was reminded to share if possible. Okay, Fikah, can we open for question and answer now?
Okay, so if participants have any question, please in the chat box or you open your mic.
Hello, Mr. Makhtar. Can I ask a
Yes,
question?
Aisyah, Safia.
Okay. So based on what you have explained before, as what I have understand, you are telling us to prepare ourselves well before we actually face the real life or the real life consequences.
Yeah.
And I think that for starter, we need to have confidence in ourselves, right? So it is actually a simple question. How
Mm,
can we feel sure that we have enough confidence and that we are ready enough to start the next journey of our life?
Okay.
That is the question for me.
There's always a word that says if you want to taste whether the cake is nice or not is when you eat it, right? Dia nak tahu kek tu sedap tak sedap kena makan. Nak tahu pisau tu tajam ataupun tak tajam kena belah buah lah, kan? So you have to try and test yourself, see how you are ready for the next challenge. So in my case, Allah gave me the opportunity to travel. Allah gave me the opportunity to work with various organizations. Along the way, I failed. Along the way, I succeeded. Along the way, as I said, I survived. So be honest to yourself. Be fair to yourself. Sometimes if you cannot achieve your target, but you have tried your best, that is good enough for you. That will build a confidence. How you can be a good person, or how you can say a lot of good, how how can you do a lot of good things because you are doing it from time to time. How you can ask a good question, basically, because you have been asking a lot of questions. Some questions are useless, some questions are baseless. But when along the way you screen yourself, say, okay, this is the nice word, this is the nice question. It is a long journey, Aisyah. It is a long journey that every day, every time, you are always put into challenge. There was a time when one of my client told me that, Mata, we have a piece of land in Kazakhstan next to the airport. What we want to do for that? I said, alamak, tanah Kazakhstan, Bukhara, apa benda nak buat, kan? So mulut lah, kadang-kadang ni mulut ni kadang-kadang kena cakap bertapis sikit. Masa tu kita tengah bercinta, kan? Dia kata, okey lah, kita tanam bunga. Tanam bunga, apa bunga kau nak tanam? Saya kata, okey lah, selalu kalau orang bercinta ni dia bagi roses, ataupun dia bagi carnation, ataupun dia bagi tulips. Okey, dia kata, Mata, kita tanam bunga dekat Kazakhstan. Saya Allah, mulut lah, mulut punya hal lah. But I learned how to be a farmer, to produce cut flowers in Kazakhstan way back long time ago. But Alhamdulillah, along the way, I think in 1991, there was a flood in Holland. So there are shortage of flowers all over the world. Masa tu I can remember Father Day, Mother Day, Teacher Day, you name it. I know all the day that we'll use flowers. I can remember all the day where people celebrate. Well, I even know the prices of roses, of tulip, of carnation, of the flowers of the world. So when Holland flooded in that year, the flowers from our area in Kazakhstan was highly demanded. You know, few load of aircraft bawa bunga saja daripada Kazakhstan pergi Japan, daripada situ pergi London, dari situ pergi mana. Dia cakap, okay, Mata, pindah sana lah. Saya, no, enough. Cukuplah tu. Tak nak duduk sana, tak nak tanam bunga, nak buat benda lain. There's another occasion where a friend of mine kecil hati bila he wanted to do korban kambing. Kambing kecil, dia kata, Mata, kambing kecil-kecil lah. Dia kata, Mata, kita bela kambing lah. Sudah, dia kata. Nak suruh bela kambing pula. So I told my wife, I said, the partner asked me to consider bela kambing. You makan kambing tahulah, dia kata. I don't know whether you know kambing tu jantan ke betina ke, kambing jenis apa ke. So ayam pun you tak kenal, reban kambing pun you tak nak masuk. How can you nak bela kambing? So I told the owner, I said, tak tahulah, tak kenal lah kambing. So by then he already prepared a reference for me. Saya Makhtar, kau pergi duduk Wonosobo seminggu. There's a place in Jawa called Wonosobo, very famous people in Indonesia who rear goats. Duduklah dekat situ seminggu, belajar macam mana nak bela kambing dekat orang Indonesia. Dia tunjuklah daun tu, kalau kambing bising bagi daun ni, kalau kambing tak boleh tidur bagi daun ni. By the third day I nampak daun tu sama je lah semua kan. Kita bukannya kaki daun, tak tahu pun. Atuk suruh cari daun nasi ulam pun bagi benda daun rumput. So then I said that built me a confidence because of the opportunity. Yeah, Aisyah, sometimes the confidence level come with the opportunity that is given to you. So whatever opportunity given to you, you use it your best, you try your best, you take that as the best opportunity then, because the opportunity will come on a different mode. So from then on, he said, okay Makhtar, kau dah tengok kambing dekat Indonesia, kambing Indonesia macam okay, but kita tengok kambing Australia pula lah. Okay, you go to Australia and stay with the farmer there for 2 weeks. Angkat beg, pergilah duduk kat Australia pula, belajarlah bela kambing from the breeders in Australia. Dia ajarlah macam mana nak tengok kambing jantan, kambing betina, anak kambing subur, kambing tak subur. Macam biasalah, the first 2 days okay lah. Masuk the third day, dia tanya which one is the good breed goat. Tak tahu, dia kata okay, you useless guy, balik lah. So that kind of communication, that kind of confidence level is something for you to try. You try, then you learn, you try, you learn, you make mistake, you learn again. But the most important thing, Aisyah, is for you to learn from your mistake. If you don't try, if you don't make mistake, you will not achieve a higher level of confidence. You will stop there. Imagine that when you were young, if you stop walking on a first few steps, you will not be walking now, right? You won't be able to walk, or you will be able to climb. But with your persistence when you were young, jalan jatuh, panjat jatuh, orang kata jangan naik tangga, itulah nak naik. Orang kata jangan lompat atas cushion, itulah yang you buat. But you end up running around and walking around now. So those were the try and error that already built inside you. Okay? Keep on trying, keep on make mistake, learn from the mistake, move on. Try again, make a mistake, learn from it, move on. So you become sharper and you become more confident. That builds your confidence. It is not like building your body. Kalau nak gemuk, makan banyak-banyak kan, gemuk. Ataupun kalau tak nak gemuk, you tak nak makan, you kurus. But confidence is something that are not physically seen. It is a confidence that would build inside you. Okay? Yeah? Alright.
Okay.
I hope I answered your question.
Failure and mistakes are normal lah.
Yes, it's normal. You're human.
Yes.
You make mistake and then that's why the opportunity for you to istikharah, for you to taubat. You know, we are meant to make mistake. We are here to try and error. But of course, Allah gave us Al-Quran as a guidance, and Allah gave us a prophet as a referral point for us to refer. So if you start losing your track, go back to Al-Quran, go back to the Sunnah, and then and start again. You won't get lost, insyaAllah. Okay?
Alright, thank you so much.
Alright. Lagi? Tanya soalan yang senang-senang je, jangan susah-susah.
If
I'm
anyone
sure the
have any
lecturer-
questions, just
Yeah.
open your mic. If anyone have any questions, open your mic. Check box. Mr. Makhtar can answer your question.
Tak dengar lah. Siapa tadi tu? Okay. Alright. Ada lagi soalan?
Can hear my voice?
Putus-putus sikit Afiqah. Siapa tadi tu? Bukan Afiqah. Siapa yang tanya soalan tadi?
Sorry, my internet stable.
Okay, tak apa. You can apa ni? Maybe you can switch off your video so that I can hear you later. Right. Ada lagi soalan? Tak ada. Then we move on to the second part. Boleh? Tak ada. Ada soalan? Tak ada.
There's one question.
Yes.
Sir, hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello.
Azika, yes.
All right. I want to ask about, is there something you appreciate in your career path along the way?
What I enjoy the most is when I can develop people. I always I always try to make sure that whoever that work for me or work with me, the better person after that. So when I notice he or she develop, become a better person, or at least know himself or know herself better, that is my achievement. But that is something that sometimes you need to guide people to know themselves. Sometimes, well, they don't have the opportunity for people to allow them to be wild, to be naughty, to be adventurous. So if I had the opportunity for my team, for example, for people who work with me, I will allow them to be crazy. I will allow them to try new things. I will allow them to make mistake, because the more they make mistake, the better they are. So when I notice that they develop, they become a better person, it is my achievement. That is something that I enjoy the most. Another thing that I enjoy basically when Allah give me the opportunity to have a good leaders that guide me, that allow me to do mistakes as well. So along the way, Allah give me a few bosses who allow me to make mistake, and they say, Makhtar, buat je. Makhtar, langgar je. Makhtar, jalan je. Tanya dia, betul ke ni? Entah, dia kata, aku pun tak pernah buat. I've never done that before. No? If you do it, at least you try. And I don't have the opportunity to do that before this. But now that I'm a boss, I cannot do it. So you as my staff, you have to do it. So I cannot say that you are right or you are wrong. But at least you try. So the two things that I appreciate the most in my career are excellent bosses that I can take them as an example, and also the staff or the team or the colleague that improve to become a better person, or at least know themselves. I hope I answer your question, Hazika.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, sir.
All right. Lagi? We try to go for another 5 minutes before we start another round at 12. Yeah.
Mister, I have
Yes.
some questions that I
Yes.
would like to ask.
Yes, Jika.
Yes, what is your specialization and something that you enjoy to do?
My specialization, I'm not saying that it is a specialization. It is always the opportunity that Allah gave me to help company to turn around. There's a management term called turnaround or restructuring. Sometimes the owner of the company are not making enough profit. So they will come and talk to me and say, Makhtar, why I'm not making profit? Why I start to making losses? Or why I don't make enough profit? So not having my own company sometimes is a challenge. I will just go in and try to look at their companies from accounting perspective, from marketing perspective, from personal or human resource perspective, uh, just to see whether there are areas that need to be adjusted. So along the way, I will also propose for them to say that if you adjust your costing, maybe your company can survive. If you adjust your products, maybe your company can have more cash. If you good in maintaining your human resource, maybe your company can perform better. So identifying the issue of a company is step one of my I would say 80% of my what I've been doing. Number two, I will propose to them macam mana nak improvise dia punya accounting account status, macam mana nak dapat collection, macam mana nak buat sales better, macam mana nak treat the staff better so that the company can perform better. Number three, in most cases, in sometimes they will ask me to come in and join the company and do the restructuring. I lead the team. I do the talking. I start selling. I travel. I yeah. My wife always complain, or not to say complain, always reminded me that I always take people's company like my company. So I always sometimes bring the matters to home and think as if it is my company. And after a while, when everything turn around and the company making profit, I will just say thank you. I move on to another company. Yeah. There are also situations whereby from my diagnostic finding, I will tell the owner, excuse me, you better close down the company. It will continue bleeding. You will never survive, and you know, uh, no matter how long you have run the company, maybe you take the company from your father, and you are the second generation. I will tell them straight that this company will not survive. It's better for you to close down and move to another operation. So that is something that I've been doing for the last 25 years. Restructuring, turnaround, closing companies, opening new companies, and also meeting up with colorful people. It allows me to meet up with colorful people, with nice people, sometimes with hard people. But it is for me, it is a lesson for me. I enjoy meeting people. I learn many things from other people. As compared to what I've learned in the classroom. I'm not saying that the lecturer have not taught me well or the books are not really beneficial to me, but meeting people, talking to people, going through the real experience allow me to learn a lot and also to remind myself about the reality of life.
Okay, thank you, Mr. So the moral is you just need to be brave. Like you need, yeah, brave to try a new things and out of your comfort zone, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for the answer.
Right.
So, participants, if you have any question, just chat in the chat box if you afraid to open your mic.
Okay. The lecturers ada nak tanya apa-apa juga, soalan yang senang-senang. Yang tanya soalan yang susah. Tak ada.
Okay, so if we don't have any question left, can we continue to the next session?
Okay,
Mister?
all right. Let's go
All
to
right,
the next
thank
session.
you. Okay.
The next session is basically sharing of what my involvement in the fintech. We have heard about the word fintech being using by so many people. Well, actually, fintech started long time ago. Now I think we are on stage 4, or at least at the end of stage 3 of fintechs. Fintech started when on the first stage when non when the industry start to use a non-cash payment mechanism. Before that, we use cash. Everything must go on cash. But at the moment the check come in, ATM machine come in, payment settlement system come in, internet banking come in, that was technically the beginning of stage 1 of fintech. I had the opportunity to work with Bank Bumi Putra back in 1983 and started the operation of ATM system in Malaysia. Before 1983, dekat Malaysia ni tak ada ATM system. Everything you must beratur dekat kaunter, bawa cek, and then kalau tak nak, ada juga yang orang bawa cek. Do you know that last time Bank Negara issue a check? Especially cikgu-cikgu or the government servant will get the check from Bank Negara Malaysia and then they go and cash it to the bank. But in 1983, Bank Bumi Putra, sekarang dah jadi Bank Muamalat and also the bank dah pecah, started juara ATM machine. Maybe the 50s like me will remember lah, using the juara card. So that was the first ATM services in Malaysia in 1983. So Alhamdulillah, Allah gave me the opportunity to be part of that. And then there's also a stage where I was involved in the internet banking operation. But as I said, Fintech already started then, not new. The second stage of Fintech basically covers when the telco comes in. The combination between the financial institution and the telco come in. They start to offer online shopping. They start to offer a phase 2 of internet banking, more interactive banking system. The stage 3 basically started maybe 10 years ago or 15 years ago when the internet banking combined with a smartphone. So that is stage 3 of Fintech. When the telco start to migrate, they are also behaving like a bank or behaving like a financial institution. Then followed by the digital currency. You've been hearing about Bitcoin, and so many things. Then the word crowdfunding start to come in. So that is in the stage 3 of digital economy phases. The stage 3 of fintechs basically talk about digital economy phases. Then when we have lot of data come in, so the big data analytical comes in also as part of the stage 3 digital economy system. Then the search engine optimization and robotic technology. So whatever that you are doing now are technically the stage 3 of digital fintech economy. So Bank Negara Malaysia just issue about 5 digital banking license last month. You also realize that Bank Islam, some of the famous bank or CIMB are not part of the digital banking license. Well, basically, when you talk about digital banking are focusing more on the retail banking rather than the corporate banking. So those who already are strong in their internet banking, mobile banking, it is just part of digital banking that are also in the industry. The benefit for fintech are basically cashless societies. You can walk around with just a card, no cash. I had a friend who was robbed last before Ramadan. The theft went into the house and tried to look for cash in the house. He said, I'm sorry, I'm working for a bank. I don't keep cash at home. Kecil hati pencuri itu. Dia kata kereta besar, rumah besar, duit ada RM50 aja dalam wallet. Apa punya orang kaya, dia kata macam ni. Dia kata, yalah, dia kata, no, I don't need to carry cash. My touch and go, my credit card swipe will do everything. I do all the transaction in internet banking. Pencuri tu punya marah dekat dia, punya mengamuk dekat dia. I think rosakkan rumah dia lah, because penat-penat pecahkan rumah tu kan, dengan parang, dengan pisau, semua letak pisau dekat dia punya leher. Tengok-tengok tak ada cash. Dia kata, ambil lah komputer, ni je lah saya punya cash. My cash now, my transaction now is in my computer. My transaction now is in my phone. Dia kata, you want, you take my phone, you take my cash. Of course lah, dia tak bagilah the PIN number and the password apa semua. Dia bagilah benda lain kan. But I don't know. That is where now the theft, the scam comes in, because they know that when you are lagging behind on your IT, they will take away your money. So be careful with the fintech. They are good, and they are also a risky kind of situation as well. So the involvement with IOFI, basically IOFI is a standard setting body in Bahrain that look into all Islamic finance standard of Islamic institution all over the world. When banking or Islamic banking want to move into digital banking and fintech, we need a standard to set. I don't know whether someone can advise me or not. People are talking about riba and everything. There are only about 5 or 10 surah or ayat in Al-Quran talking about riba as compared to other things. So the guidance for muamalat in Al-Quran and also in Hadith are very much limited, but very wide coverage. There's not much on detailing. Yeah. So we need scholars. We need scholars who can talk to the technical people and explain the requirement of the latest muamalat transaction in Malaysia, in all over the world. So IOFI is doing the standard, and Alhamdulillah, I've been given the opportunity to be part of the committee who look at the application of fintech and digital banking in globally, including other part of components lah. That is what I want to share with you about the fintech. I think the ladies now would have a problem with their handbag, because they don't require a big handbag like what my mother or what my friends have. Maybe your handbag, the big handbag, will now be reduced because you just need to bring your wallet, or sometime later on maybe you just bring your phone. The phone is everything. So tak tahulah makcik-makcik nak bergaya macam mana lagi, sebab tak boleh bawa handbag kan. Dulu boleh juga bawa handbag kiri kanan nak tunjuk handbag, tapi there be a time when bawa handbag, orang kata kenapa bawa handbag kan. Macam itulah cerita dia in future. So you being a second year or being a final year of university student in accounting and also in technology, be aware of the next stage in your life, what would happen. I would also like to remind you all that there are things that you have to be aware of in terms of the short term and also in terms of the long term. I want to ask any one of you can give me a figure of a current Malaysia inflation rate. Agak-agak berapa? Siapa boleh jawab? Siapa boleh
Sorry,
jawab?
Mister?
What is the current inflation rate in Malaysia?
Oh,
Agak-agak lah. Siapa boleh jawab? Cari kat internet, kat mana-mana. It will take some time for you to answer, as compared to I will ask you, mi udang paling sedap di Penang kat mana? Ataupun chow kway teow yang paling sedap dekat Kok Diam kat mana? Ataupun I akan tanya apa lagi nasi biryani, nasi Arab, nasi gam, whatever. Yang paling sedap, yang paling mahal, yang paling panjang queue, lagu mana paling top, TikTok mana yang dapat banyak followers, kawan tu kahwin dengan siapa, kawan ni bercerai dengan siapa, dia ni anak siapa, dan sebagainya. Kawan ni tukar kereta kawan tu bercalar, kawan ni pagi tadi makan roti canai, because that is your daily life. But the reality of life is basically that you have also to know the inflation rate of Malaysia at the moment. What happen dalam masa 3 bulan lagi, dalam masa 4 bulan lagi? Adakah inflation rate in Malaysia yang berada di sekitar 2.2 at the moment, boleh tak naik sampai 3%? Apa efek inflation rate Malaysia kalau dia naik sampai 3%? What about the inflation rate in America? You know that the inflation rate in America now is 8.7%, the worst in the last 40 years. The inflation rate in UK, for example, representing Europe, is about 7.5%. The inflation rate in Singapore is about 5.8%. So to sleep well, I said Malaysia 2%, 2.2, okay lah. Orang lain lagi banyak. But the impact of the inflation rate is something that accounting student, IT student that have to deal with. So that would carry a lot in your reality or in your real life. Okay lah, boleh lah sekali-sekala tengok TikTok ataupun tengok budak tu dia cerita, saya bangun pagi, tiap-tiap pagi saya kejut mak bapak, saya azan, bapak dia kata mana ada, tipu lah, tak pernah azan pun aku yang kejut kan. Lepas tu lepas saya azan, saya bentang sejadah dan saya jadi imam dan saya macam-macam lah. Lepas tu kakak dia pula kata, yalah kau ni, aku yang kejut kau. Lepas solat, saya bersiapkan sarapan, saya buat susu untuk adik saya dan sebagainya. Okey lah, you know, you can spare your time and look at those TikTok for a while. But look at your food security also. Ayam tak ada, sayur tak ada, air tak ada, cuaca berubah. What happened in India when they had flooded in last year? The impact of banjir in Malaysia, in yang tak pernah banjir, in Bentong, in Banjaran Titi Wangsa, in Kuala Lumpur, and so on and so forth. Now the next trend is a very dry season in India. Would that dry season come to Malaysia? Would El Nino or whatever Jerubu will come to Malaysia? So be aware of that. There are other important things that would also have an impact in your life. Yeah, spare some time and look at the reality. This is what I thought. I mentioned about the street smart. Look at important things. Tengok jugalah, nanti kalau tak tengok macam orang kata dekat mana nasi ketam sedap, kawan cerita you tak tahu pula, rasa macam ketinggalan zaman. Tapi tengok, sekadar tengok lah. But the reality is that talk to your friend about what happened to Malaysia kalau inflation naik daripada 2.2 jadi 3. Is there any effect to the salary? Is there any effect to the currency? Kalau effect currency, kalau effect ekonomi Malaysia, kita nak kerja macam mana? Apa kerja kita nak buat? Macam mana kita nak bayar balik PT-PTN? Macam mana yang dah bercinta nak kahwin? Bila kita nak kahwin? Kita nak duduk dekat mana? So those are the real issue that you have to be concerned with. Don't get yourself entangled with TikTok, with short term or tak tahulah. It's not right for me to advise you because I was born in different generation. But I'm scared to look at the area that everyone are focusing now. You are in second year or you are in the final year, 2 years or 1 year down the road, you will going out and work. You have to pay your PT-PTN. You have to pay back to your family. You have to cover your sister or your sibling who want to continue their study. There's a long way for you to go. An area that you need to focus. So I'm reminding myself, I'm reminding my children, I'm reminding everyone around me as well that we have to be focused on short term and long term as well. Look at the very important facts and whatever happening around us. Yeah. So that is a second part of my coverage today. and hopefully beneficial to everyone. So I have a visitor. Ramai orang datang. Okay. In my office. Okay. We can go for another 10 to 15 minutes question and answer. Otherwise, I don't want to drag you for your lunch. Maybe you can go for early lunch. I noticed that you have a very long program from 23rd until 28th. No, solid topic. When I look at the topic, I say, wow, my street smart is something different than those technical topic that covers by your seniors and also the expert in the industry. Okay, that's all from me, and we can go for a question and answer session if possible, inshallah. Ada apa-apa nak tanya?
Okay, so participant, if you have any question, just put the question on the chat box. Okay, so Mr. While waiting for the questions,
Yeah,
I want to ask one question.
yeah.
So what is your duty in ASAS?
Okay. Since Islamic banking started in Malaysia in 1983, when Bank Islam was born in 1983. So we are shortage of Islamic finance expert, especially the scholars who can give fatwa, who can give guidance to the bank on what is the halal transaction. Ya. So kita scholars kita yang belajar agama, dia belajar fiqah, dia belajar usuluddin, dia belajar benda-benda yang berkaitan dengan agama. Sebab dia masuk sekolah agama, dia tak ada peluang nak belajar accounting, belajar finance, belajar ekonomi, belajar technical subject. So ada juga yang expert dalam industri kita, dia belajar accounting, finance, ekonomi, tapi dia tak belajar syariah. Dia tak tahu bagaimana ada perbezaan antara mazhab. Dia tak tahu juga kenapa kita kena faham usul fiqh untuk membuat hukum-hukum kewangan Islam yang baru. Ya. Jadi selepas 20 tahun, after 20 years, Bank Negara realised that the disparity between people with Sharia background and people with technical background are getting distance. So the technical people will always say that scholars akan guna bahasa Arab, scholars akan guna hadis and guna Arabic terminologies. Yang scholars ni pula dia akan kata, oh, technical people akan guna English terminologies, economic terminologies. So benda tu tak selari, gap tu makin jauh. So in 2017, Bank Negara decided to allow ASAS to run a program to close the gap between the Sharia scholars, people with Sharia background, and people with technical background. So people with Sharia will learn more about technical. People with technical will learn about Sharia. Then they would understand why halal haram. Kenapa Islamic finance berbeza daripada konvensional. Okay. So ASAS has been asked to run a certification program. So kita buat program, the Sharia scholars akan masuk kelas dan belajar balik benda-benda yang dia tak pernah ada belajar, ataupun benda some area that they were asked to make fatwa when they work as the Sharia committee in the financial institution. So since 2017 until now, kita dah ada about 287 learners. Kita tak panggil student sebab semua tu matured student. Ada profesor, ada datuk, ada datin, ada yang Syariah Committee ni kebanyakannya PhD holders lah. But they learn about accounting. Ada yang datang and say, Makhtar, now I know that I'm balance. Tanya, kenapa balance? In my wallet, I have debit and credit card. Oh, saya, oh, okay. Balance lah tu kiranya. Yeah, I thought I'm not balance. Kata, okay. So those were the thing yang kita share lah, in order for the Syariah Committee to perform better, to catch up with the development of Islamic finance all over the world, and also for the technical people to appreciate more. Kalau Islam ni referennya hanyalah Quran dan hadis, kenapa ada perbezaan mazhab? Kenapa ada perbezaan amalan Islamic finance di Malaysia dan di Middle East? Kenapa di Malaysia kita guna perkataan wajib, tapi di Indonesia dia guna perkataan harus. Kita harus lain. Kita wajib, dia harus. Berperang lah. Kita kata harus ni lain. Dia kata, Pak, harus Pak. Kita kata wajib. Dia tak, harus. Harus bagi dia tu adalah kategori wajib juga. Kadang-kadang dari segi pendekatan bahasa dia. So asas function are basically to provide certification for the Syariah Committee members, increase professionalism of the Syariah fraternity in Malaysia. So insyaAllah 28 ni kita akan ada first convocation untuk 70 graduate of Asas CSA CSP. Kalau ada masa lapang tengoklah www.asas.my. Itu adalah website Asas, ya. www.asas.my. Itulah sikit sebanyak what I've been doing since 2018. I think I saw two questions, Fika. What about alamak ni soalan susah ni. Saya dah kata tadi tanya soalan senang. Aduh.
Question from
Aduh.
students.
I have a choice.
For you.
I have a choice not to answer also, right? A difficult question. Maybe some of the lecturer can help me to answer. About e-wallet, like TNG, Grab, Boost, does it help to boost economy or just make us easier to pay something cashless? It depends on how you look at the things. Kalau dari segi safety wise, cashless society a bit safer. It is much safer for you to just bring a card rather than to have a thick wallet with cash. Kadang-kadang kita terlupa nak record apa kita beli, apa kita jual. I know someone that I can't mention, when she asked me to look for the phone number of Puan Khatijah, kita cari kita tak jumpa. Dalam dia punya, dia ada buku, dia tulis phone directory dia lah. Kita tanya dia, I tak boleh sebut nama, mana ada nombor Khatijah kat dalam ni? Ada, dia kata, pergi cari balik. Kita buka-buka tengok, ya Allah, yang paling banyak dekat tu H dengan M. Hajah Som, Hajah Haji, Haji tu, dan and ada K, Khatijah, Maklimah, itu aja yang banyak. Yang nama Allah tadi Khatijah K tu tak ada dalam Zoom pun. So sometimes they record it well, but they don't record it properly. Accountant, kalau you have to do a proper recording, e-wallet would help us to track our expenses, and some people also control their budget very well. They put 100 or 200 ringgit in their touch and go. They know that this is the limit of my expenses. Rather than every time nak belanja keluarkan cash, every time nak belanja pakai credit card, nak bayar kemudian. If you use e-wallet properly, that will help you to control your budget. Well, in terms of boosting the economy, again, it will depend on how you look at it. Some people say that the fintech, the technology will reduce the workforce. Ramai orang takkan dapat kerja. Dulu kita boleh juga bersembang-sembang, bertanya khabar orang jaga tol. Sekarang ni tak ada apa benda dah. Pergi dekat tol tu, jalan. Kalau RFID tak jalan, memang orang belakang marah kita. Tak ada siapa kita nak minta tolong. Masa itulah juga hujan. Masa itulah kita menggelabah. Touch and go, kita tak ada duit. Tak ada orang nak tolong. Bayangkanlah betapa banyaknya tol-tol di highway dah kosong sebab tak ada orang. Samalah juga dengan pekerja-pekerja di certain industri kurang sebab adanya e-wallet, cashless society ni. Tapi that would bring us into another area that okay, dah tak ada kerja dekat bank ataupun dekat certain function, balik kampung bertanam, bertani and raise the food security for Malaysia. There are also short-term opportunity for Grab and also e-hailing. Itu kita tak nafikan lah. But at the same time, if you look at the long term, those people are not covered by EPF. Those people are not well covered by the insurance. If you want to do Grab or e-hailing only for short term, maybe okay, but not for the long term because you don't really have long term plan. Yeah. Siapa tu? Kalisa Iman. Everything that you have in front of you, you have to timbang lah as an accounting student. You have to timbang sama ada baik dia, buruk dia macam mana. Focus on kebaikan, beware of the keburukan juga. I hope I answer your question. No Alia Hazika. Tasha, panjang, tak tahu nak panggil mana satu. 3 orang ke 4 orang ni, nama panjang ni. And what is the impact on inflation? Okay, the impact on inflation ni basically kalaulah inflation naik, cost of living kita akan naik. Yang saya faham lah, mungkin lecturer apa ni, Puan Wana ke doktor siapa tadi tu, boleh tolong saya jawab soalan yang susah ni. Tapi bayangkanlah kalau cost of living naik, kita gaji tak naik, then we gonna have a problem to survive in our daily life. Itu adalah simple example of inflation. That is also why we are trying to control our inflation rate to be just between 2% sometimes. Bila cost of living naik, kadang-kadang operational cost naik. Jadi banyak unemployment pula dari sudut employability. Ya. Then dari sudut supply of good. Three areas that would also impact on the inflation. Mungkin ada juga ketika harga rumah akan jatuh, people yang beli rumah banyak tak mampu nak bayar rumah. The inflation impact on Malaysia, on any country comes in many phases as well as in many angle. So beware of the inflation, beware also of the impact on inflation. Bacalah. I always remind myself and also remind my circle that focus also on Surah Yusuf, where it says 7 tahun kemarau panjang, 7 tahun maju. So that's basically the cycle of economy, 7 years. Kalau dia jadi 10, then dia akan jatuh lagi dalam. Kalau we are lucky enough, dia 4 tahun, then we are a bit stable. 7 years is just a nice economic cycle, as mentioned in Al-Quran. Yeah. Banyaklah tengok Al-Quran dengan contoh-contoh yang mana yang diberikan untuk survive dalam kehidupan, insyaAllah. So Nur Alia Hazika Tasha, I hope I answer your question. Okay. Okay, Kalisa say thank you. Aiman H, ingat Aiman mana tak tahulah. Aiman H ni. Okay. What do you think about the currency value of Malaysian ringgit that are descending nowadays even though other countries inflation are higher? Oh, ini kena tanya Bengal. I cannot answer this question. I shouldn't answer this question. Nanti ada implication yang lain lah. Well, but the short answer that I can mention as well, when you look at the disparity or the difference between the currency value in the market, there also an issue of demand through forex, foreign currency exchange. That the demand and the supply of the currency would also affect on the value of ringgit. But the most important thing, sometimes when the ringgit and other currency having different, that would impact on our economy in terms of balance of payment and also our economic reserve, foreign currency reserve in Malaysia. Okay, it's 12:30. I know everyone are hungry now. Let's not prolong the talk that much. We'll try to I know we have until 1 o'clock, but I think nampak makanan yang kot sekarang kot 12.30 unless ada yang pos 6 ke apa ke belum habis lagi. Alright. Aiman, I hope I answer your question in terms of the currency. Sorry, I tak boleh komen banyak on currency. But impact dia gitulah. Foreign reserve, ada juga market on the forex that impact on the value of the ringgit comparing to other currency. Okay. Lagi. Thank you, sir, for answering, especially about the foreign reserve. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Puan Salwana, I leave it to you. You can stop anytime. We can continue some other time, insyaAllah, if this discussion beneficial to everyone.
Okay, then thank you, Mr. Makhtar. So I hand over it to moderator, Afika.
Kalau ada soalan lagi, okay. Kalau tak ada, okay, we go for lunch.
Kalau ada soalan boleh tanya. We can wait for 1 minute. Is that okay?
Okay, fine. Oh, okay, semua banyak yang menjawab. Saya tak nampak. Ada yang menjawab tentang inflation rate. Ada yang kata 4%, ada kata 2, ada kata 2.2, ada kata 2.3. Around tu, okay, good. At least ada juga yang menjawab. Tadi tak nampak, minta maaf. But 2% is something which is manageable.
Assalamualaikum, Ustaz.
Ya.
Saya Medan Shima.
Allah.
One of the lecturer ni.
Aduh.
No, saya cuma nak tanya, based on your experience kan, so many industries that you get involved.
Yeah.
Apa experience yang boleh kita share tentang future of Islamic accounting? The future of Islamic accounting. Thank you.
Okay. Islamic accounting ni Puan, kalau saya boleh nampak daripada sudut pandang saya yang terhad, kita hanya akan fokus ke, accounting treatment is quite generalized. Cuma kalau dalam Islamic banking tu, treatment on calculation of profit tu hanyalah berbeza kalau ada isu-isu yang tak sepatutnya dikira sebagai income. Itu saja yang saya rasa akan membezakan sedikit. Tapi Islamic accounting dan Islamic economy something yang isu yang agak besar lah. Melainkan kalau kita dapat set up satu solid institution yang memang nak comply 100% to Islamic accounting ni. Otherwise, kita akan guna conventional accounting serupa juga. Saya tak, mungkin sebab dah lama sangat tinggal accounting ni, Doktor, saya nak jawab tentang future Islamic accounting ni, saya rasa macam macam mana kita kena belajar
macam penyediaan tadi kan, macam penyediaan peternakan kan.
Ya.
Dia akan lebih detail kalau menggunakan kaedah Islamic accounting kan?
Betul.
Dia akan lebih detail dan lebih jelas berbanding dengan konvensional.
Betul. Jelas. Itu sebab dalam accounting yang kebiasaannya kita akan tengok dari sudut pandang halal haramnya, kita akan tengok dari sudut pandang apakah pendapatan yang wajib dikenakan zakat. Kita akan juga tengok sudut pandang kalaulah ada tainted income, kita akan letak sebelah untuk kita buat cleansing, kita bagikan kepada kepada charitable institution. Tapi at the end of the day, Islamic accounting mungkin lebih terserlah kepada Islam Muslim as well as Islamic institution sahaja. A portion of conventional operation and also non-Muslim operators are wider. Saya kalau boleh saya share dengan Doktor. Doktor mungkin dengar Malaysia kita bercerita tentang halal industri yang amount dia dalam 1.3 trillion ataupun sebagainya. Tapi sad to know that out of all the 1.3 trillion halal industry, maybe around 15% or 20% of the halal operators are using Islamic finance facilities. So sayang, because they are producing halal product, they are doing the halal they are producing halal product, they are doing it in the halal way, but the financing that support the operation are conventional financing. So itu pun yang kita masih belum capai. Islamic finance sekarang dah berumur lebih kurang 50 tahun. Kalau boleh saya nak tanya satu soalan kepada participant, agak-agak selepas 50 tahun Islamic finance dalam industri keuangan di dunia, agak-agak berapa persen Islamic finance punya portion dalam the whole financial system ni? Anyone can give a number? Selepas 50 tahun, Islamic finance percentage dalam the global financial sector ni berapa persen? Agak-agak. Any numbers? Tegalah, just teka je, 50 tahun. Malaysia sebagai champion dalam Islamic finance, OIC country dan juga beberapa negara Islam ni dah memang berkembang sangat Islamic finance. Tapi percentage Islamic finance dalam global financial industry berapa persen? One number. Ada siapa-siapa nak try? Ada tak? Okay, ada yang kata 5%, ada yang around 10%, ada yang kata 20%, ada yang kata 15%, okay. Ada yang kata 40%, ada yang kata 30, 47, 10, 15, 20. Okay. 32%, 45%, 6%, 20%. Okay, I'll give you the answer. After 50 years, Islamic finance industry dalam global Islamic finance percentage, we are less than 2%. Less than 2%. Masih kecil. Sangat kecil. We still have a lot to do. This is what I'm hoping for the youngsters, the new graduates, lecturers and everyone, to bring Islamic finance, Islamic accounting, Islamic economy to the next level. We have done our part. We are doing our part in our best way that we can do to stabilize and also to offer something as an alternative to conventional financing or conventional system. Islamic finance that what we have now is not a perfect one yet, but it is just enough as an alternative for consideration to the Muslim. Yeah, there's still a lot to do. We still have a lot to catch up. You know, imagine 2% or less than 2% as compared to the 98% of conventional finance globally. Doctor and everyone, you still have a lot to produce.
And then I just want to add another part, right?
Yeah.
I agree with your answer and your views, especially all the students, especially in Islamic accounting. The main purpose of Islamic accounting is to pay zakat, to pay the zakat. So kalau kita tak boleh produce the annual report yang betul-betul tally, betul real practice kepada what happened on our industry, syarikat yang kita audit dan sebagainya, kebarangkalian zakat takkan dapat dibayar.
Yeah.
Itu adalah objektif utama Islamic accounting, itu untuk produce the good performance of the company yang boleh tally sebagaimana yang syarak minta. So kalau kita compare dengan conventional, kita tak boleh practice sepenuhnya because kita hanya akan convert everything in monetary value. In Islamic accounting, kita kena include all. KG, tan dan sebagainya perlu produce. Macam tadi peternakan kan. Even anak kambing pun kita kena produce sebagai dalam annual report kita walaupun dia belum lagi boleh kita jual. Okay, thank you.
I just want to add sikit kalau boleh, Doktor. Now, Islamic finance has moved into another component that we call social finance. Zakat, wakaf, apa semua tu dah masuk in the limelight as part of Islamic finance operation in Malaysia. This development will make Islamic finance different from the conventional finance. because conventional finance and the philanthropists are separate, clearly separated in the conventional world. But dalam Islamic finance, dalam Islamic economy, Islamic finance dan social finance adalah something yang sangat rapat. Bila kita ada komponen wakaf, kita ada komponen zakat dan sebagainya. So insyaAllah, the latest development in the last 10 years in Islamic finance, where we include the component of social finance in Islamic finance operation, that would again portray Islamic finance as something different from the conventional. So graduates, anak-anak semua, be prepared. You have a lot to do. You have a new venture that you can explore. You have a new opportunity in front of you. So don't feel sad. Don't worry. Allah dah atur dan Allah prepared something nice for you to explore, insyaAllah. Kalau this is the last word, ampun maaf if I've said something wrong, if I've wrongly addressed anyone. It is not a lecture, it is just more of a sharing session, something that I can share, and I want to learn more from you all. Wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Wallahu a'lam bishawab.
Right, so I think that is the end of our Q&A session. And thank you again for answering those questions and for the great presentation. Thank you also for all the students that asked the questions. It was a pleasure to have you with us today. And I'm sorry that we have some technical difficulties before this. I would like to invite all participants to turn on the camera as we will have group photo session now. So open your camera.
Okay, so everyone can open your camera. All right. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Smile for the camera. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Makhtar.
Okay, Wana.
Jazakallah. Terima kasih banyak-banyak Mr. Makhtar. May Allah bless you
InsyaAllah.
for
Thank you, Mr.
sharing.
Terima kasih banyak Tuan Haji.
Inspired to the students here.
Terima kasih.
Terima kasih banyak-banyak.
So stay safe everyone, insyaAllah.
Ya, insyaAllah. Panjang umur, jumpa lagi insyaAllah. Thank you.
InsyaAllah.
Okay, so reminder